So here I am at the top of Red Earth Farm with my buddy Mark here in his latest rebirth of this building that he has brought with him from his previous abode, his previous relationship with the land on the other side of the farm. And he was telling me about how it was just kind of Wattle and Daub, and it was kind of listing over, and so he came and gave it a good new foundation, and it's already happier, and it's up here in a better location with good sunlight and a good view. And now look at that Wattle and Daub. What did you use for the Daub? Just
this is a fermented plaster. This is a this plaster uses our scythed down grass instead of straw. So it was green tall prairie grass mixed with a earthen plaster, and then spiked with like a citrus a fermenting starter, and then wrapped up in a tarp for a few weeks. So it actually started fermenting, which kind of, some people say it gives it enzymes that make it like stronger. I mean, this has been blasted with whether it never got a finished plaster on it. So.
But you've also dragged this across a field and everything too.
Yeah.
And it's still only barely, it's still quite strong.
It's solid,
it's a mat, it's like felt.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a, you know, this isn't just like Wattle and Daub falls off. This is like a felt.
And this is just not a fermented. This is just a regular earthen plaster.
Yeah, we were just plastering with water buffalo poo back in California.
This has cow poo.
I love the bottles. I'm a sucker for bottles. It just wakes up and gives you a little. You wake up and it gives you a little bit of
all recycled oak from some barn, and then this is pallet wood.
Yeah.
All this paneling.
You got hefty pallets here, bud. Ours are a bit wussier than that. That's nice. I love your heat shielding and
yeah.
your understanding
of code either.
Yeah, but it's that reflection makes a huge difference in what stays in the building and what goes out of the building and what might catch the building on fire or not. A little place up there to sleep when you want, to handle it not being warm out. Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of this will probably, like this whole wall, this will turn into a door, probably just an arch door into a kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Like once I put that roofing out, this will stay. This is a greenhouse. I probably will break through maybe some here. I don't know. Depends how much I want to insulate, you know, in the addition.
So does your rocket-fired hot tub go down by the banya and the plunge, or does it go back behind here? That's the real question.
The rock-fired hot tub will probably be up here, or maybe it might be down by the pond, so we can get water in it.
Yeah.
It depends how much water. I'm not planning on catching. I'm only going to catch
that much.
This much here.
Yeah.
On this house, and then the next house I'll build a big cistern. The earth-burned house, by the way, goes kind of right there, closer to the pond. On the side of that road.
Gotcha. Yeah. There's an interesting spiral of energy into this space where you got road coming in. Well, when you're looking at exposure, there's a building principle. Do we need to walk toward your thing? We're so good. Okay.
We got 15 minutes.
This is a really fantastic building. So there's a lot of opposites that we consider when we're building, not because we want to balance between them, but because one or the other of the principles suits, and compromising between the two means a crappy building. Not a compromise, but an actual crappy building. So like, one is noting that the way that certain people are is what Frank Lloyd Wright would have called a percher. They want to see everything coming. And another type is a hunkerer, somebody who wants their back to a stone wall with a fire between them and the danger of the world, with that fire reflecting off the stone wall and warming them from all sides. But they want some place that feels defensible. And often a functional match in a partnership is a hunkerer and a percher, because of the different ways in which they see everything being of value to the other. They make a good team, but at the same time, it's more of a challenge to build a building that suits both of them, because they have different principles that make them feel comfortable. And then when you come and do this thing for yourself, you have to decide, would I rather see everybody coming in so I know who's coming in, or would I rather that my other building or my food forest or whatever creates a barrier? And sometimes that effective barrier is not a door but a spiral, like the spiral showers that people build, where you don't have to have a door and then a door and then a door. You have privacy by the way that the traffic flow goes. So when you look at this space here, you right now it feels exposed and actually kind of freeing in some ways. The energy comes and goes pretty quick. But as you sink into the space, you might be thinking of adding to this sense of privacy that this gives you. And sometimes you do that by the placement of a food forest, and sometimes you do that by the placement of a different building. Like if a building gives you the privacy and sense that there's not a parking lot there, and then the building is bermed away from that anyway, then that also gives the parking lot a sense that, oh, I'm in nature. But it's not because there's not a building right there, it's because there's a berm there. And then the way the road comes into here has a spiral kind of effect into, but you want to think about how you might want your banya faced so that you can use it appropriately, and get in the sauna and then you go jump in the water without scaring the children or whatever, but yeah, when you think about your soak, and when you think about your plunge, and you think about your sweat and your garden and your which posts you're going to put the hammock between in here and all the things, think about where the energy is spiraling in and out of here. The eddies and flows. With a river, you got to have flow, but you got to have eddies where nutrient gets caught and the fish can live. And it's kind of that way with people too, as they pass in and out of a building and in a space. You got to have movement space, but if it goes through a space where people like to sit and talk, then you trip over people's legs, and also it disrupts. So the eddies of where's a nice place to sit that doesn't feel like it's in the way of things, and then where am I going to be wanting to wheel a wheelbarrow through even after I've stopped building, and where am I going to say, no, actually I want an eddy, so I'm going to reclaim this space. What am I going to do to reclaim that space? And one of those those keyhole arches, part of the reason for that is to not be able to get a wheelbarrow through, but you can get through with your arms full, and that kind of calms traffic in a courtyard / building space.
I think I'm going to always want to be able to get a wheelbarrow.
Yeah. But you do that so that you also have a place where you can feel at rest. I have trouble sitting in my own house. I get very uncomfortable, and I finally found a chair that I could sit in for more than 10 minutes, and I've even fallen asleep in it a couple of times.
Nice.
And it's changed my relationship with my house. Just to have one space, one chair that I have no problem just dragging it and grabbing it right up next to the rocket heater and just saying, okay, that's me.